This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your me, Louie T. Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 14 in the National Football League. Seattle Seahawks on the road taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This game went exactly the way that I thought it would. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the best defense in all of the National Football League, in my estimation. I know there are some out there that think differently, think Seattle or the Minnesota Vikings, rather, are the best defense in football. I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars every day of the week and twice on Sunday for 500, Alex. And so they did exactly what I expected them to do. Russell Wilson struggles with athletically gifted defenses that can run sideline to sideline and get after the quarterback. Not to mention the two best corners in terms of a tandem in this league, in Boye and Ramsey, shutting down those receivers on the outside for much of this game. I thought the Jaguars left their foot off the gas in some soft situations. Guys fell asleep behind the wheel, gave up some big plays that allowed Seattle to stay in this ball game when they should not have even been close. And that was the name of the game for the Jaguars defensively, is big plays. They made some in this game, they gave up some in this game, and that's what kept this game close. The offense, I thought, of the Jacksonville Jaguars was phenomenal in this game. Fournette over 100. Bortles, no turnovers. Thought he played very well. Dede Westbrook looks the part of a guy that can really help. And I remember Jags fans telling me, Dede Westbrook's coming back in 3 weeks. Dede Westbrook's soon to come back in a week or so. Look out for Dede Westbrook. And I'm like, who cares? Dede Westbrook's a rookie. How much of a difference could he possibly make this late in the season? I stand corrected. He's going to make a difference. Had a touchdown grab in this game. And Marquise Lee, again, he's had his blunders and his problems this season, but he's also the best you got at the receiver position, along with Keelan Cole, who had a big catch and touchdown in this game as well. You've got a nice little trio of receivers there. If you can keep them healthy, I think you've got something there. Mercedes Lewis is giving you something at the tight end position. Your running backs, you've got running backs for days. Chris Ivory with a big run in this game. Fournette continued to pound and wear down that Seahawks defense as he went for 100 in this game. Still got Yeldon to catch it out of the backfield and offer you a little bit of diversity back there as well. So Grant is also another guy that you can give it to if need be. So there's a lot of flexibility in that backfield. And it all revolves around Blake Bortles taking care of the rock. And he did in this game. And so he was impressive. I thought he threw the football very well. He's playing his best football of the year at the most critical time of the season. And this spells trouble for the rest of the AFC and is a very good look for this Jaguars football team. This game had an interesting finish. It was everything that I thought it was going to be, and then some. So let's get into this game quickly, break it down from both teams' angle, and get out of here. Start with the Jaguars. Offensively, I thought they were outstanding in this game. Might have been one of their better performances from an offensive standpoint of the season. Blake Bortles throws for damn near 270, 2 touchdowns. Never was in danger of throwing a pick in this game. I thought he was outstanding from that perspective. Took care of the football, made great decisions, used his legs when he needed to. I told you, I've always been a Blake Bortles fan. I've been waiting for him to take that step where he realizes I don't have to win the game by myself. And for a long time in Jacksonville, he did have to win the game by himself. And he put that pressure on himself, and he never was able to live up to that pressure. Well, now I think he's starting to realize I don't have to win the game myself. I've got a really good running game. I've got an outstanding defense. And if I just take care of the football, and if we have to punt, so be it. But I won't be the reason we lose this game. And when I'm called upon to make plays, make throws, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do exactly that. I'm not going to miss Dede Westbrook in between 3 Seahawk defenders on a corner route wide open. I'm not going to miss him. I'm going to hit him for a touchdown. I'm not going to miss Keelan Cole streaking down the sideline with a chance to make a big play and get in the end zone. I'm not going to miss him. I'm going to hit him. And so When those opportunities present themselves, you can't miss, and he's not missing right now. And when he's got to tuck it and run and use his legs, he's being responsible and doing exactly that. He's getting down, keeping himself out of harm's way. No one wants to see an injury. We talk a lot of people. I'm not the one. A lot of people talk trash about Blake Bortles, and I've talked my fair share of trash about Blake Bortles, but I've always wanted him to succeed. And now that he's playing well, no one wants to see a Blake Bortles injury. He's playing arguably the best football of his career. No junk stats, no trash or garbage time piled up 300-yard performances with these games he's playing now. He's actually playing meaningful football and taking care of the football, making good, sound decisions. Thought he was impressive. Thought the run game was outstanding. It wore down a Seattle Seahawks front that coming into this game was playing arguably their best football of the season after shutting down the Philadelphia Eagles in that high potent offensive attack. So they were coming into the game riding a high wave, and I thought that offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage, got the Jaguars into a rhythm offensively, being able to run the football, giving Blake Bortles ample time to throw the football throughout this game. And I thought he was surgical at times with the football, doing exactly what they needed him to do, which was manage the game and make throws when they presented themselves. Defensively, they were their normal selves for much of this game. There are about 4 or 5 defensive lapses that cost them dearly in this game. For the rest of the game, let's say that there were 57 snaps in this game. 52 were outstanding by this Jaguars defense. Stifling even. But 5 of them almost cost them the game. They gave up a deep ball to Russell Wilson, to Doug Baldwin when they were up 10-0 in the game. Then you have a fumble on a punt, a kickoff return by, I want to say it was Grant that fumbled the football, coughed it up. It was recovered by the Seahawks. That turned into, I want to say that one turned into a touchdown. They got a touchdown off of that turnover to tie it up at 10. Then your offense goes off for 14 unanswered and stretches the lead back out as the defense started to make plays again. Then you give up a deep ball to Tyler Lockett. You give up another deep ball, I want to say, to either Lockett again or Doug Baldwin. But either way, another big play. And all of a sudden, you're 30 to, I think it was, 24-10 at one point. And then it was 30-17. And you gave up another touchdown to Lockett within like 1 or 2 plays with 3 minutes left. You're up big. And I'm like, well, this game's over. This defense isn't giving up 2 scores. And literally in a play, you give up a deep ball to Lockett down the sideline. Somebody absolutely fell asleep behind the wheel on that one. And they were right back in this game. But outside of that, you picked Russell Wilson off twice, I believe, in this game, 2 or 3 times. Might have even been 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. You put pressure on them. You sacked them a ton of times. They had penalties in this game. They're one of the most penalized teams in the league. So that's not a surprise. But nonetheless, defensively, you were outstanding except for a couple of blunders down the field that allowed them to make big plays. But A.J. Boye had a pick. Ramsey had a pick. You made plays. You got the job done like you were supposed to, 30-24. You take sole possession of first place with the win coupled with a Titans loss over in Arizona. So now you're in first place by your lonesome. And a win coupled with another Titans loss could clinch this division for you if you're able to win down the stretch. So if you can find a way to win your next 2 games and the Titans lose 1 more game before your big Week 17 matchup, that Week 17 matchup won't be as big because it won't be for the division. You would have already locked it up. So you just got to continue to take care of business. This was a big one against Seattle. They beat Seattle. You should have been able to say, you beat them, we can beat them too. And you did that. And this game went exactly the way that I expected. Sans for the big plays given up by this Jaguars defense. But nonetheless, you get it done in this game and advance to 9-4 on the season. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, this was a tough one to take, but one that you shouldn't be as surprised about. The offensive line was dominated, which you should have expected from this Jaguars defensive front that's among the best in the league. Your corners or your receivers, they were plastered for much of the game, but they made plays too. So there was a little bit of Russell Wilson magic as he tried to bring his team back. But he did make some mistakes in this game, which I expected to happen. The run game, Mike Davis looks legit, though. If nothing else, if there's no other takeaway, Mike Davis looks legit. Because I thought he broke tackles. I thought he got yards after contact. I thought he was your best running back again. And now it's not a competition. He's the guy at the running back position for the remainder of this season. And J.D. McKissick is the guy that spells him and that you use in different situations to try to get the football to. But Mike Davis looked good in this game from an offensive standpoint. But it just took you too long to rev up the engine. You made too many mistakes on the offensive side of the football to beat a good Jacksonville Jaguars team on the road. Defensively, this was not your best showing. And a little disappointed in how much you gave up on the ground. Because in my mind, going into a game, if I'm playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I know it's easier said than done. They're talented up front. They're moving people off the line of scrimmage, creating holes for their running backs. That being said, you gave up a 50-yarder to Chris Ivory. You gave up 100 to Fournette in this game. The key coming into the game should have been, hey, let's stop the run. Let's force Blake Bortles to beat us. They were balanced. So that's a problem in itself. But nonetheless, you gave your team a chance. Special teams, while they giveth, they taketh away. You missed another field goal. You got to replace Blair Walsh. We're at the point now where heading into the playoffs and trying to get there, you can't have any more of these blunders, man. He's got to go. He's missing too many close field goals. He's got to go. Now, your special teams forces a fumble, which gave you a chance to get back into this game. So special teams did contribute in this game. The defense, they weren't good enough. Blake Bortles had a really good showing. They ran for over 100 yards. Fournette did. They ran for over 150 yards as a team, probably closer to 200 when it's all said and done when you factor in any yards from Yeldon, the other yards from Blake Bortles, and whatever else you had from Chris Ivory on the ground. So they probably rushed for close to 200 yards. You can't give that up on the ground against a Jaguars team that is looking to run the football first, throw last. So a little disappointed in the defensive effort given by the Seahawks in this game, but I wasn't surprised at the outcome. I actually expected what I got, and so I'm not really disappointed. What I am disappointed in is the finish to this game with Quentin Jefferson trying to jump into the stands. Now, I get why he was upset, because fans don't have the right to throw things at players. I hate the fact that fans feel like because I bought a ticket, I have a license to do whatever the hell I want, say whatever the hell I want to these players, and they're not supposed to react. That's bullshit. So I didn't have a problem with him taking umbrage with what the fan did. Don't take your damn helmet off. That's not smart, number one. Number two, where are you going? Why are you trying to climb in the stands? What are you trying to accomplish? Trying to get a lawsuit? What are you doing? Okay? But again, I understand the frustration. You're about to lose a game. You got ejected. You got hit with a drink. Okay, I get it. But keep your cool, all right? As for the Seahawks, the way they acted at the end of the game, look, you lost. Stop trying to be extra. Stop putting a little extra sauce on it. You lost. They're taking knees. Take your L. Take your ass home, okay? You just made that end of the game a lot nastier and a lot more difficult than it needed to be. You lost. Go home. Regroup. You got a big game next week for the division, okay? We don't have time for these shenanigans. We don't have time for someone trying to get suspended for the biggest game of your season next week. You don't have time for that. You lost, okay? You turned the football over 3 times. You let Blake Bortles control the game, and you gave up 100 yards to Leonard Fournette. You deserve to lose. Go home, regroup, try to win next week at home versus the Rams and sweep them. Simple as that. End of discussion. So I hated the way the game ended, but nonetheless, it's a good football game. Jaguars did what they needed to do, win the game 30-24, move to 9-4, take sole possession of first place in the AFC South Division. Meanwhile, with the loss by the Los Angeles Rams, the Seahawks remain just a game back at 8-5 in the NFC West Division. Next week's game at home versus the Rams for the sweep, and more importantly, for the division lead versus the Los Angeles Rams. So that's a big one in the NFC West division. Let's get to any comments that may be out there before we move on. I figured I'd have a bunch of comments for this one. BK Soldier 2010 says, I want to apologize for the actions of a few fans at that game. In no way do they represent a Jaguars fan. I know. I know how it is, man. Every fan base has got a couple of drunk idiots at the game to decide that they want to take matters into their own hands and start launching drinks and stupid shit like that. But I don't think that's a great representation of any fan base. And so it's okay. We accept your apology on the behalf of the rest of the Jaguar fans. And so we didn't take offense to it, but that's stupid. And there's no place for that. FBG Tony says, Westbrook balling, bro. Blake looked great. This team looks scary, bro. What happened to the Allen twins? Well, both of them have been hurt this year. Remember, Allen Robinson went down, I want to say week 1. Either week 1 or week 3 of the preseason with a torn ACL. He's done for the year. And then Allen Hurns has been battling injuries all year long. 1 week he's in, 2 weeks he's out, 2 weeks he's in, 1 week he's out. He just can't stay healthy. So the Allen twins are dealing with injuries. FBG Tony also says, Jags might go the distance and win the AFC conference. Defense is strong like that. Offense solid, specials just don't F it up. They gave Wilson trouble. Imagine what happens to Ben and Brady. Well, they already did it to Ben already. Remember, he threw 5 interceptions in a loss at home to this Jaguars defense. And I know they can rattle the cage of Tom Brady. The question is, can they do enough offensively to beat those teams? Again, I don't know. We'll see. FBG Tony says, oh, okay, we already read that. Vincent Cole says, I'm just hella salty we lost, but is this Jags defense better than the 2013 Seahawks defense? I'm not willing to say that quite yet. They have a chance to, based off of what they do in the postseason. They've got a chance to make a statement. But right now, they're dominant. But remember, I think that 2013 defense led the league in the least amount of points allowed. I don't know if the Jaguars are on pace to do that. So I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to go there yet. John Perez says, why are the Seahawks defenders a bunch of hotheads? They have absolutely no discipline, especially Bennett and Richardson. And you need a couple of those dudes on your defense if you're going to get it done. You need a couple of loose cannons. You look at that Jaguars defense, they got a couple of loose cannons up there, man. You never know what the hell Dante Fowler Jr. is about to do. You never know when he's about to pick up a personal foul penalty. All right, Jalen Ramsey, another hothead. You got to have him. If you want your defense to be legit, you need a couple of dudes you got to find a way to tame them. But they're caged animals. John Perez says, do you like what Cam Robinson has brought to the Jags? Still not sure why he was taken later in the draft, though. A lot of people, including myself, didn't think he was going to excel because he had problems with speed rushers at Alabama. You could beat him with pure speed. And so we saw him regress his last year at Alabama. We weren't sold on him. He didn't seem like that kind of guy that warranted a first-round pick. And the Jags got a steal. He's been playing outstanding football. Yes, I love not only in attitude because he went nuts at the end of the game after he got into it with a couple of Seahawks players. He went nuts. It's that type of attitude that you need on your offensive line if you're going to be a great run-blocking team or change the culture. You need guys like that. He's brought that attitude to their offense. Cloud says, go home. FBG Tony says, yo, the Seahawks wild as F for the end of the game. Shit was retarded and pitiful. It was. FBG Tony also says, take your L and go home. They were pitiful for how they took their L bum-ass ends and words. Yeah, they were tripping, man. They were salty. They didn't think they were going to lose to Jacksonville. And they got to the end of the game and they realized, damn, we lost. And they couldn't just accept the fact that they'd lost and that they needed to get on a flight and fly all the way back to the left coast. Just take your L and go home. Regroup. You got a big one next week. We won't have time for the shenanigans, man. Cut it out. Cloud says, I hope Jacksonville plays New England in the playoffs to knock them out. They got the potential to do it. I don't know if they have enough offensive weaponry because even though they got enough firepower defensively to shut that offense down, and hold Brady down. Brady and company are still going to find a way to manufacture 17. Can the Jaguars say the same? I don't know. John Perez says, Seahawks got their asses kicked, plain and simple. Nobody in the league, even the Browns, are used to losing to the Jags. And Vincent Coe says, is the MVP race between Russ and TB12 GOAT now? I would say yes, and throw Antonio Brown in there as well. Yeah. I'd say now with Wentz going down, because to me, he was the clear and far and away winner. Now that he's hurt, going to miss the final 3 games of the season, he's not going to win it now. I think it's going to go to de facto Russ, Brady discussion, and now a new entrant into the race, Antonio Brown, who we've seen on primetime television now 3 weeks straight, light it up. He's in the consciousness of football fans everywhere, and if the voters have been watching, which how can you not watch a primetime game with the Steelers in it, against the Packers, against the Bengals, and against the Ravens, he's been the difference. So he's in that race now. FBG Tony says, Jags, Pats, AFC Championship. We will see. In order for that to happen, the Jags would have to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, oh, by the way, that would also entail them getting out of the first round, wild card weekend, which I can see them doing, but they need to have the 3rd seed. Because I don't want to play Baltimore. I don't want to play Jacksonville if I'm anybody. I'm avoiding the 6th seed like a plague. But Jacksonville's not out of the realm of possibility that they can still get their hands on the number 2 seed. They just got to finish tied with Pittsburgh somehow, some way. We'll see if they can do that. John Perez said, it'd be great if the Jags won the Super Bowl. It'd be great for a lot of people. It'd be terrible for the NFL. Because the NFL would have the lowest ratings it's had in quite some time. Maybe since the Giants and the Ravens played in the Super Bowl in 2000 or 2000 and I think that was 2000. The 2001 January Super Bowl. Or the lowest it's been since... Has there been another funky Super Bowl with teams that nobody really gave a damn about? I think the last one was Giants-Ravens. Maybe Ravens-49ers wasn't as appealing, but the 49ers have a big enough fan base where they give a damn and they move the needle enough themselves to draw in a crowd. Jacksonville in the Super Bowl, I know the NFL wouldn't be excited about that, but they're a good enough team to make some noise. We'll see what happens, though. In any event, they get the win over the Seahawks, 30-24. Take sole possession of first place in the AFC South with the win at 9-4. And they're playing outstanding football. At the right time of the season, they're playing their best football, which we can't say for the Tennessee Titans. They're going in opposite directions, and I got a lot of confidence in this Jacksonville Jaguars football team, believe it or not. And they're showing why here of late. Tough loss on the road to Arizona, but as Tennessee found out, not the easiest of places to play and win. As for Seattle, I expected this. Everything you want is still in front of you, including the division. Go home and take care of home. You do that, and we'll forget about this loss and all the rest of them that have come before. If you can find a way to beat the Rams on the road, at home next week, and finish out the season strong at Dallas and home again, or are we on the road? I think you're home for Arizona to finish up the season. So, in any event, finish up this season strong. Everything you want is still in front of you, including, let me think, maybe even, no, I don't think you can get your hands on a first round bye unless Minnesota implodes, and they're not going to down the stretch. And Philly, they're 11-3. You could get your hands on a first round bye. As a matter of fact, now with Nicholas Foles in the fold, if they lose 2 out of their final 3 to finish up 11-5, and you get to 11-5 by winning the remainder of your games, you own the tiebreaker over the Eagles. Voila! You're the number 2 seed in the NFC if someone else like New Orleans, or Carolina, or let's see. That's it. One of those teams doesn't jump up and snatch one of those seeds away from you. Because Minnesota's getting 1 or 2. So, in any event, go home and rebound, regroup, and get you a win next week. That game means way more than this one does. So win next week. It's going to do it for your man Louie T here on Lockdown Coverage. We're going to have a special Lockdown Coverage at halftime of the Monday night game. I want to talk about that Eagles and Rams game. It was epic in its nature, and then the fallout of the injury to Carson Wentz. So tune in at halftime of Monday Night Football for Lockdown Coverage, the final episode of Lockdown Coverage for Week 14, Eagles at Rams. Until then, enjoy the first half of Monday Night Football. I'll see you at halftime of the game. Your man Louie T's got you covered. I'll see you at halftime of Patriots and Dolphins. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.